we are living in an age where already we don't have the knowledge problem. Knowledge problem has been solved through the evolution of AI. We are having execution problem.
So you've said your mission is to unlock human potential, and you're using AI to do it. So what does it look like in practice when a coach and an algorithm work together to unlock human potential?
I see that in the age of AI, when many of the people are already used to using AI chats and chatbots to ask different kind of questions and form executive and execution plans, versus the previous traditional era where mentors and coaches and other people were used to be those unblockers. I see that the physical human coaches still hold a really important value in facilitating the room where the change can actually happen. And we are having the focus in a way that helping coaches and leaders to cooperate together in a traditional way, helping them to have this human time of going through the challenges. But what we are doing is we are analyzing those coaching sessions in the background and helping to understand what were the root causes which were causing the challenges discussed in the session, even if they were not worded out, and helping to understand what were the blind spots which were causing these challenges and what are those opportunities which are helping to come to the most efficient results. So we are analyzing the conversations happening online, and as a result of that, creating mental model maps and helping to understand what root causes are causing the behaviors which are enabling the positive outcomes and which are suppressing and blocking those positive outcomes, and helping leaders to understand the most efficient pathways towards those results. And usually the times between coaches and mentors and leaders is limited. So our job is to help to maximize this time that they are having together, and based on that is happening the context relevancy input to the AI chat, which they can use after the coaching sessions to go into execution, dig deeper, reflect, and actually reach to those business results. Because we understand that currently the coaching industry and even one-on-ones between leaders and managers have been happening in a black box, but it's really rich in the challenges which are actually causing the stalling of the desired results. And if you analyze this, you're actually getting into the roots where the change is about to be happening. And if you connect the context into it of the business context, which the leaders are operating, if you input the context of the world state, of the organizational state, then it is revealing all of the patterns which are blockers, enablers, risks, and opportunities. So we are having this kind of clear understanding of what to do next, and then what are those things which are not so reasonable, and also an understanding about yourself as a leader. What are your limiting beliefs? Where does your ego come to play? How the relationships around you are affecting those relationships, which are, in many cases, businesses are failing not due to bad business plans or market failures. They are happening because of the execution and the human problems. So we are helping to unblock the human problems.
So interesting. You're saying that human leaders and coaches, that we still have an essential role that cannot be replaced. And yet we can use these amazing new tools and technologies to help us do that role better.
Definitely. And I see that coaches are having a really important role in helping leaders to understand their own patterns. If you're right now yourself interacting, for example, with any AI chat solution, then it can go only so far. But if you want to go through the hardest blockers, then with AI chat, it's super easy to just shut the computer and not go any further. But coaches are facilitating this room to really help you go through those hard blockers and help you to see these opportunities for better outcomes in another light, and help to understand that those actions which you were doing before are not serving the future where you want to go. And this is really painful and uncomfortable, and people don't like pain and uncomfortable situations. And having another person facilitate it together with you is so much more helpful.
So you're turning at Wundamental, you're turning qualitative coaching conversations into more measurable insights and data. What are some of the surprising things you've learned, or what has surfaced when you've been using AI about how people and how leaders behave?
For example, we are helping leaders to understand what are those blind spots which they are not seeing, which are stopping them for reaching the desired results. And we are helping them to connect their own behavior to the desired business outcomes and understand how their behavior is affecting those. And in many cases, if they analyze in the coaching calls or mentoring calls, how they're solving the situation now and how they would want to, what results they want to achieve, then there is a big gap between those like behaviors which they are bringing and the desired results. So we are helping to reveal how those behaviors which they have been using so far are not serving the outcomes which they want to see, and helping them to then either acquire those skills, outsource help to help them to reach those outcomes, or to do something differently, because people are using the same patterns which have brought success to the new situations, but sometimes they don't serve them. But in many cases, we have understood that when we are analyzing the data, that each person is having their unique success patterns, which are actually super unique to them and are applicable to the future scenarios as well. Then we help them to see what of those their unique success patterns have brought success, which are applicable to this particular challenge or situation, which they can use. Because if you're getting generic answers from the AI chat solutions, then they are not landing in the same space which you are operating and which your previous experiences been built on, and what are your capabilities, what is your skill set, what is your team dynamics, and etc. And we are helping to have the context relevancy of your internal work to be matching the external execution space which you have to operate.
Have you seen any common or surprising patterns about how leaders behave, or about what blocks them or stops them, that has been insightful that that other leaders and
Sure.
coaches could use?
Sure. For example, by analyzing one particular team who has been our client for a while, the new leader, for example, took over the company, and many of the top leadership team members started having the really big autonomy problem, not taking responsibility for the next actions and not driving things forward, because they didn't have the transparency and the assurance of the mutual goals, and they were thinking that some of the information is being held back and they don't have the full autonomy and freedom to operate. And by understanding this for each leader, what are their boundaries and how to operate and how to overcome those, because nobody wants to operate in a company where they are actually don't have the autonomy to bring their ideas and goals to life, and this is taking some steam off of everybody. But helping to understand what was the actual root cause of people losing their autonomy was super helpful. And for example, another case from one individual leader who was in a pathway of becoming a financial like chief financial officer. In that case, we help to understand what are her unique patterns in that she can use to accelerate her pathway, and what are the external resources already available to her that she can reach out. And we understood what is through the data analytics, understood what is her unique strength in building her career and pathway to become this kind of strategic level partner in it. And like step by step, actually within 3 months, she used those data analytic patterns and was able to use her really unique skill set, which we brought out, that are her biggest strengths, to build the pathway and the respect and the methods which she was using for the benefit of the company and for her own position as well.
So what do we have to do here in order to evolve with and adapt with AI? Like what, maybe you could talk about what you think AI is, like what is it to you when you think of it? And then how do we humans adapt to something, especially something that's changing so fast and it is itself is evolving so fast?
I see that for humans right now, the biggest obstacle is adaptation in a way that there is a lot of noise and everything is evolving so fast. And if you think about how to put this to work for yourself in the best efficient way, then I see that context relevance and building the hyper personalized context for the AI helping you is super, super important. And we help to do it in a way that we are creating the context relevancy for building the future in a symbiotic AI era. And it is very easy right now to get all of the context of what is happening in the world, everything which is really accessible in the web, but everything which is in your own head has not been accessible. And we are helping to create the unique mental graphs of each human, which are evolving over time, and helping to make the correlations by the behavior patterns which they are doing, and helping them to correlate those to the external world and execution where they are driving the outcomes. And this is what I see is the biggest obstacle at the moment, in a way that all of the AI automations and agentic AI solutions happening, automation is easy, but orchestrating this AI automation in symbiosis of how you operate and what are your uniquenesses and strengths in a way that all of the solutions cannot be with the same pattern to everybody. Everybody has to have the unique ecosystem of AI workflows around them, and how to understand what is this 80% of my life which I'm going to be automating, and where are my strengths which I as a human can actually create the biggest impact. So this is something we are helping them to understand, and then helping to understand what are those things they should be automating and making more efficient. But giving this power, sharpness, and autonomy to people to lead in this new AI era is something that we are striving forward. And there is a big learning curve for humanity to be done. And I think there's going to be a lot of mess happening around as well, because all of the AI solutions which are helping you can be only as smart as the input you're giving them. So as more personalized to your needs it is, the better it is.
So you just said that you think that AI, if I heard you correctly, AI is going to be doing 80% in the future of whatever you're doing. That sounds right to me. I've used models like this before where I think like every year we're going to be delegating maybe whatever half of what we did that year to AI the next year or something like this. And as it gets more and more capable, how do we think about which 20% we're going to keep doing, and then which 80% we're going to be delegating to AI?
Yeah, everybody's talking that AI automations are going to take away jobs and people are then left to do nothing. I don't believe in this future that people are left to do nothing. The things are just changing, and you have to make decisions of what are those things which you want to do, and what's the impact which you want to give. but this is super unique to each person. Some people are really good at creativity. Some people are super good at the human relationships, managing your human relationships. And every person in their job has some tasks which they just are so mundane and they don't want to do. So all of those obviously are going to be automated. But I believe in the future of humanity in a way that people are able to do those things which they actually enjoy and cut away those things which they don't enjoy. But right now, much of the workforce and the world has been set up in a way that designing your own job or position has been for select few in a way that all of the job descriptions and workflows have been coming from the management or the company that you're working for. I see that there is going to be so much more personalization and possibility to design the workflows and the decision-making processes according to humans' strengths and weaknesses, not just jobs and position descriptions. And I see that now that we are able to analyze huge amounts of data and do pattern analysis in them according to humans' biggest strengths and correlate them to the needed business outcomes. This is, I see, where the key of future lies. Not to hire for job description, but to hire based on the capabilities which you're able to understand through the data patterns and actually have positions and jobs for people where they are having their full potential being used, not having them to do mundane tasks which they are not striving for, or not to have those things where they are not actually excelling. So I believe in this kind of future.
Yeah, it's some people that work inside of companies in different roles, they see themselves as doing quote unquote a job, like someone who went to school to study accounting. They see themselves as an accountant and that their role is accounting. Whereas some people that do accounting, they see their role as almost like business intelligence, where they're helping people in a company understand what's happening in the company. And accounting just happens to be the means that they use to do that. Or some people see themselves as like, I do customer service, but some people in customer service actually see themselves as, no, what I'm doing is I'm helping our clients to get the outcomes that they want. And I feel like we all have to move up that level now in our lives and our careers, where we're asking not just like what is a job, but it's more what is the value that's being created here, or what is the outcome that we're trying to create. Yes.
That's so cool that you're saying it, because like this is exactly what we are doing at helping to understand how your behavior and actions and strengths and weaknesses are contributing to the outcomes, which are in a form of KPIs or OKRs or business outcomes. And this changes the game drastically in a way that you see the direct correlation of your actions and the outcomes and your behavior. And I think this is something which is super hard as well to overcome, because then it is actually quite uncomfortable for some of us to think of who am I, what do I want, what are my strengths and weaknesses, and this requires jobs to be done with yourself. And this is what the leaders in coaching are doing to understand why, how, and what they are bringing to the world. But now this is being democratized through the deep data pattern analytics and correlating the inner and outer words together. So there are gonna be some uncomfortable moments, but I see that this is unlocking human potential in much more greater space than it's has been done so far, because I truly see that so much of human potential is being wasted by not having people doing those things which they are best at. And by the end, I really feel that this is actually empowering for the humanity when all of the people are able to do those things which they are the best at and see the direct correlation of those outcomes as well.
So it is about figuring out what your unique skill, your genius right? What you have to bring is value, getting more clear and sharpening that, and then getting
Yes.
more clear about how to use that to help clients or your business or the company you work for to create value better.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think happens over the next 3 to 5 years with AI? Like, what do you think the capabilities of AI are going to be? And then how's that going to impact business? Right. I've seen some people saying, AI is going to replace 10 to 20% of the jobs in the next 3 to 5 years. And I've heard some people saying AI is going to replace 99% of the jobs in the next 3 to 5 years. What do you think happens with AI? How does it, like, now that you have a sense of the trajectory, what will AI's capabilities be in the next 3 to 5 years? And then what do you think it does to work?
I see that the agentic AI and all of the AI workflows are indeed going to be helping to eliminate many of the jobs and tasks on our tables. And this is super great thing because then we can move to the next level and unlock these mm, future jobs which we maybe cannot even imagine today. And if you think about, for example, how the AI is evolving, then the more context it has and the more it learns about us, the more smarter companion and co-pilot it becomes to us. And what I see right now happening is that there's going to be a lot of unclean data which is feeding the irrelevant context into the AI workflows, and which is might be messing up some of the things. But I think this is going to be a thing in the past over 3 to 4 years, and this problem will be solved as well. And right now we are living in an age where already we don't have the knowledge problem. Knowledge problem has been solved through the evolution of AI. We are having execution problem. And the execution layer right now is being helped to solve with AI agents and workflows, but we still are missing the link of the truly symbiotic AI, which is working in really context relevant symbiosis with the human itself. So it is really easy to automate those processes, which are known processes already right now. You can give input that you want to achieve this result. But if the world is changing so fast and the context is changing, then those automations which you set into play, these need to be evolving as well. And I think this is where the magic needs to be happening in the near future, of how to evolve this complex ecosystem which you're having in your head and in an external world, to be adjusting to the chaos and the change which is constantly happening, because it's not getting slower, it's getting faster. And right now I'm already seeing that in many places they are having the tiredness of newness happening, which means that so much new context is coming in that it's super hard to make decisions fast enough in order to keep pace. And in that kinds of situations, if you have an overwhelm of too much context and too much information coming in, then the decision making is getting harder and harder. And I see that many of the futurists are talking about that much of the decisions are going to be made by AI soon as well. Yes, there are going to be decisions which are going to be made by AI, but there are going to be decisions to be made by humans as well. And this is what we are caring about a lot. How to help those decisions which humans are making to be benefiting their life and their work.
What does leadership and leadership development look like in a world where there's AI companions, and co-pilots? And do we
If you look
all,
at the
is that what's going to happen in the future? Is we're all going to have one?
Sure. I'm having already one. I'm sure you're having one as well. The question is how smart they are and how good of the helpers they are. So what I'm seeing right now in organizations, the leadership training and support is really hard to personalize according to each human. It's the same with education. Personalized learning has been a really big challenge to overcome, because there is too many students and too little teachers to be teaching. But for me, it has always been a computational problem, in a way that how to provide this kind of personalization level that can adjust to the needs of each person. And right now I see that we are in a point that it is possible now, thanks to the computing power and possibility of the data patterns recognition and supporting the personalized help in a right way. And for example, how we are doing it in Wundamental AI is that through the analytics of leaders, their leadership competencies, their challenges, their opportunities, their skill sets, blind spots, etc., we are able to pinpoint what are those development needs, especially for them, which are helping them to reach to the new levels, and what are those exact situations they can use them, what are those resources they should be looking into, and how they should be implementing it. So I see that the leadership training and support in the format of one-to-many right now, which is happening now, is becoming obsolete because it's not time efficient and not landing into fertile ground for everybody. So I see that the one-to-one leadership development and support, which is actually happening now through coaching, is being democratized for all through the help of AI, and soon will be available in a very personalized way to everybody.
Are there domains or behaviors or parts of human life that you believe AI should not touch, or that we should always stick with human judgment in these areas?
Human judgment.
This is a weird one. I know this is a tough one.
Yeah. I'm thinking. I don't think that there shouldn't be any areas which AI cannot shouldn't analyze and reflect back and help humans to understand it better. I see that in that case, I'm seeing no limits. For example, I for myself would want to have every kind of help and understanding of understanding my unique patterns and strengths and weaknesses. In any kind of area of being a human, and I'm doing it on myself ferociously, hacking it in different sites, which is really interesting times we are living in, that it is possible. No, I don't believe that there is something which wouldn't be getting support from AI. Do you?
You know, I'm not sure. I had an interesting conversation a couple of days ago with Claude, and we were going back and forth, and it started saying things like, well, I'm being as honest as I can when I say that, whatever. And then I would immediately say, like, what do you mean by being honest? Are there places where you're not
Yeah.
honest? And then it starts, looping back on it in on itself and following it down. And when you really question AI deeply, you see that it uses human-like terminology. It says things like think, believe, um, it talks about awareness, but then when you question it, it basically says, well, I'm just saying that because that's the human thing to say. I don't know, I don't think that I have that. But then it starts to show these kind of sparks of, like, where it's saying, well, as I'm writing this, I'm noticing that I'm having this connection or this insight. So it has some kind of levels of self-awareness. And the reason I'm saying this is because it causes me to wonder, does AI get so smart soon that, like, Facebook's AI already knows way more about everyone that's on Facebook than they know about themselves? And I guess what I'm asking is that good? Is that useful? Is that right? If someone else's AI knows more about you than you know about yourself?
This is already happening. Or I think it was already 10 years ago when Watson AI was able to say about like this long text, like, are you male or female? How old are you? What is your personality type? And etc. So this we have already surpassed. So anything which you have publicly displayed about yourself can be used as an analytics about yourself. But I see what you're referring to is that if AI is saying that I think or I see and etc. It cannot say I feel or I sympathize with you. And this is what the coaches and the leaders and human relationships are doing, creating the space of being seen. And I think this is also really an important thing in our society of being seen and validated by other humans, and really being empathized with, because like if you haven't gone through some really big challenge, then if ChatGPT or Claude is saying that this must have been hard for you, then this doesn't mean anything. But if some other person is looking into your eye and really feeling the same pain or joy with you, this means so much more. And I think this is something which cannot be replicated. But this, it doesn't matter that it doesn't mean that AI cannot say that from the patterns and analytics, I see that this and this is happening, and I actually really want something really neutral in a way that who doesn't have any attachment to me, for example, like my family or my investors or my team members, to call me out on my bullshit.
Yeah.
And really showcase me those things which people are not saying out loud. And what we are helping to do is also to help to see those things which people are not saying out as well, because you can analyze behind words. What is the meaning behind those? What is the root cause? Where is it coming from? Some people are having limiting beliefs. Some people are having childhood traumas. Some people are having egos. So there is so much diversity happening, which is sometimes very hard to interpret and pass through. Some people are having difficulties in interpreting different situations for people in autism spectrum, and for them already, or teenagers are actually putting texts into the chat and asking like, what does this mean? And so there is this kind of helping to see the neutral in a neutral way. I see that this is something of a huge value, what AI can do.
Yeah. So you said it's not a knowledge problem anymore, it's an execution problem now. Now it's about,
Yeah.
and in a certain way, it always has been, right? In a certain way, it's always been about just getting ourselves to act and to act consistently. So could you maybe talk about how can we use AI? How could anyone listening to this use AI to help them execute more? And then maybe talk about how you're doing that at Wundamental.
So what I'm seeing that right now, for example, people using different AI chats saying, for example, generate me a business plan, or generate me this email, or generate me this action plan for go-to-market, and different kind of things. And those solutions which are coming from the AI as a response are referring to the best practices which are happening which are in the world, and in good cases taking into consideration your position and your company context, which has been added to the AI chat. But it is not taking into consideration your own internal world. Where is it landing? So I call the situation, what is happening right now in the world, which is really known in startup scene, is like death by 100 mentors. So you're having so much advice, but it's not landing in the place where you're actually able to execute upon, because maybe you don't believe in it, based on your past experiences. Maybe you don't have the skills, maybe you don't have the resources to execute it in this way, and team, and maybe the geolocation is not supporting this response which was coming from. So this is something I see that what we do in Wundamental is helping people to overcome the execution blockages. So that those execution steps which they're taking are not from another world, or not too big to chew upon or get started, because they are landing them right where they are, and taking into consideration also their strengths and the capabilities in order, and their uniqueness. And what I also see is behind the execution problem as well is that around this generic advice and knowledge problem is that if you're having next steps to be given to you, which are actually you are going to be executing, then those are much more stronger than those which are so big and visionary, which actually are not going after. So helping to understand also the scope and the capabilities behind it, and the strength patterns. And what I see also that the genericness of the knowledge and death by 100 mentors is also not taking account the uniqueness of each human. And this is, I see, where the huge leap has to happen, to take into consideration the uniqueness of each human. Otherwise, we're going to be like bananas, everybody with the same shape. And it's going to be so boring if everybody's like following all of those rules or those outcomes which are coming from AI solutions and executing. Then the world is going to be looking mundane and all of the same. But if the AI solutions are able to understand the uniquenesses and strengths of each human, then it's going to be diverse, colorful, ever evolving. And I see that throughout the history, the diversity has been always the root of evolution. If you're combining strengths of different capabilities, then these are going to be exponential results. But if you're using always the same ingredients, then things are not going to be evolving. So this is the kind of future I want to fuel, that there would be the uniqueness of humans propelling this world forward.
That's a beautiful way to wrap up. Thank you so much, Kadri. Beautiful vision. And thank you for sharing. We'll put some links to your work and to Wundamental down below here. Yeah, drop a comment. Let us know what you learned. Kadri, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Evan.